Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Realtor Nation podcast. My name is Ian Hoover, and I am the host of the show. And I'm very excited to bring to you the Realtor Nation, a show to help you improve your business. Today, we have a very exciting episode. Josh Adamek from Adamek Ventures is coming on to the show. He started investing in real estate at 21 years old back in 2003. He went full time in 2010. He's been involved on over 200 real estate transactions, and he's the head of our local Acre real estate investment group here in Pittsburgh. So I'm very excited to bring him on. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to welcome in Josh Adamek. Josh, welcome to the show.
Ian, thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. I know you're busy and taking time out of your day. I'd like to start off by talking about your journey. So tell us a little bit about your journey, how you got started in real estate, and why you decided to go through the torture and misery of doing so.
Well, I'm still trying to find that answer myself, but we'll start at the beginning where I got started. So back in 2003, I bought my first property. I when I was younger, I always had sort of the entrepreneurial mindset. I always knew that I wanted to do something, wanted to grow something, wanted to run a business. Early on, I was in a different business venture. I have an automotive background, and I thought early on that that's where I was going to grow and that's where I was going to progress. And then in 2003, I was had some interest in real estate and investing, and through a little bit of guidance, I was able to buy my first property. And early on, I started going to Acre, Pittsburgh. I learned a lot there. But 2003, I bought my first property. I was working full time. Didn't come from money, didn't have really any money, and that was in the heyday of hard money lenders were big. There was money available to buy real estate. So I did a hard money loan, borrowed money to buy it, borrowed money to fix it. And then, did the whole refinance and got everybody paid off, and ended up, it was, now like the younger crowd, younger guys call it house hacking. That's basically what I did. I bought a duplex, lived in half, rented half. It was my girlfriend and I at the time, who's now my wife. She, believe it or not, she stuck through all this. So we got the duplex there, and it was kind of cool once you go through the whole process and you realize it's like, holy cow, I got this place and now we're living for free. We're not paying any rent. So I did that again, bought another house. We ended up moving out of the duplex, rented the other side of the duplex out that more or less covered our mortgage at the next place, and just sort of from there, we were set in our home, and then I started buying some rental properties, adding to the portfolio. I did that from 2003 until about 2010 is when I went full-time in real estate. Personal reasons, just too much going on. My wife was sick at the time, and something had to go, so I decided that what had to go was my full-time job. So left real estate, or went full-time in real estate, and the rental income, I had a good little portfolio built, but it wasn't enough to replace my income. So that's when I started buying and selling, commonly known as wholesaling. I was, wholesaling a lot of properties, just flipping, whatever I could, and ended up, it was kind of that whole fear of failure thing. When you quit your job, it's like, the last thing you want to do is go back. So, I was in full hustle mode, did really good first year or two out of the business, far exceeded what I was making working a full-time job. And then from there, it's just, again, growth through the business. Instead of wholesaling everything, I kept the property, I rehabbed it, sold it. Took longer than expected, cost more than expected, but nonetheless, there was still profit there. So I just started keeping more properties to rehab and not wholesaling everything, and continued to grow my business that way. And that was probably around 2012 when we got started heavily in Lawrenceville, which, we all know what the market is down there now. So 2012, I bought my first house, rehabbed it, and sold it. And at the time, I'm like, we're getting ready to list this thing. And I'm like, who the heck is going to pay $175,000 to live in Lawrenceville, right?
Now
So
that'd be a bargain.
yeah. So we put that property on the market. It sold quick, and then from there it just snowballed. We started doing a ton of marketing, doing a bunch of rehabs down there. Had the opportunity to buy a couple lots, did some infill new construction. That's where we got our feet wet with the new construction process. And again, just growth and progression, reinvesting in the business, reinvesting in new projects, larger projects, allowed us to take down larger tracts of land in conjunction with reinvesting in the business, and then also building the relationship with our investors. The trust and the rapport and the relationships allows us to get involved in bigger projects. So, now just fast forward, now we're doing spec development. Everything we do basically is under a private equity type model. We do spec development, new construction. We do land assemblage, land development, deals both in the city and out in the suburbs with larger tracts of land. And then we do a lot of single family home portfolios. So it's a good market right now. And, we're just trying to work a lot of different angles, have a well-diversified portfolio, and, just both take advantage of the current market conditions, but also plan for a correction in the market.
Gotcha. Wow, that's a lot. I knew you were involved in a lot, so I knew that was going to be a lot of information there. I do want to touch on a couple of things that you said there, just in case somebody listening doesn't really know what you were talking about. So let's start first with hard money.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me, because it sounds like it hurts. So what is hard money?
Hard money is lenders or folks that are in the business to lend money, but not your typical bank. So hard money lenders are asset-based lenders where, they don't take as close a look at the borrower's criteria, but more so the project at hand. It's typically a lower debt, or it's a lower loan to value ratio, short-term, high interest rate, high interest money. But lenders will, the hard money lenders will lend on the asset. They'll lend money to renovate the home and cover more costs than a typical bank would. And hard money lenders will lend on deals that banks won't even touch.
Yeah, so from my understanding and my dealing with hard money, the interest rate is really what makes it hard, right? So I mean, you got anywhere from probably 8 to 10% if you got some skin in the game, right? All the way up if you want 100% financing. I mean, you can be up in the 15, 20% range.
Yeah.
Do you still use hard money nowadays on your projects, or are you more self-funded?
No, it's been a while since I've done a traditional hard money loan, just because of the relationships that I've built over the years. And currently I do more of like an equity model than borrowing money, borrowing debt against a project. But the thing that you want to note on the hard money loans is, a lot of people that are new in the business, not that you're new in the business, but when people are getting started, they look at like the terms of a hard money loan and they're like, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pay 50% for the money. But it's just a line item in your spreadsheet. So either your deal makes sense or it doesn't. Some people are so focused on the cost of the money that they completely forget about the fact that, at the end of the day, there's like a $20,000 profit or a $50,000 profit, or, I'm going to refinance this and I'm going to have, $500 a month cash flow after we're all said and done. I mean, the cost of your money, it's just a line item on your spreadsheet.
Yeah, anytime somebody has brought up that, like clients or anything, that hard money is too expensive, I say, like, well, can you do a deal without it?
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
Okay, then it's a pretty good value to me, right? Because it allows
yeah.
you to do some deals.
Yeah, it's a cost of doing business. I mean, like I said, the lenders, they look at the asset itself, and does the deal make sense? Most of the hard money lenders that I know, and all the guys that I've dealt with in the past, I mean, they're active investors, so they know the deals, they know the markets, they know, they understand the process. So, they're when they lend money in a deal, they're comfortable that the deal has the strength to go from beginning to end.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you talk about equity position, you're essentially bringing on for your current projects. You're bringing on like equity partners,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming they're silent partners. They just bring cash to the deal. They get a percentage of the deal, and that makes it probably a lot less stressful for you because you don't have those hard money payments to pay, and
Yeah.
everybody's getting a piece of the pie, right?
Yeah. Well, a couple things on that is to answer your question. Yes, a lot of the deals that we do are done under an equity model, whether it's a portfolio, single family homes, or it's a development project or construction project. And every deal is different. Every structure is different. You mentioned silent partners. More oftentimes than not, when somebody's putting up the amount of money that they're putting up, rightfully so, there's nothing silent about it. So it's you're forming a partnership, and there's general partners or there's limited partners, but everybody's interests have to be aligned, and you have to make sure you're setting the deal up for a win. So there's as far as I've come across, there's no mythical investor that just writes you a check for millions of dollars and then just you send them a return whenever you make some money. I mean, it's a relationship. It's there's a lot that goes into it with the preparation for the project and the understanding of how we're going to execute this project, and who's getting paid when and who gets what, and who's contributing what. So there's a lot that goes into the partnerships.
Very cool. One of the other things that you talked about when you were explaining your journey was wholesaling. What is your definition of wholesaling?
Wholesaling is no matter what business you're in, wholesaling is buying something and reselling it as is. With real estate, we've done a lot of you do a lot of marketing in the past, and it's basically, you find the deal, you take control of the project, you have an equitable interest in the project, and you're selling your interest in that project for a fee. So it's not, it's not to be construed with a real estate agent who, a client is hiring them to market their property and sell the property. It's, when you're a wholesaler, like, I'm going to go out, I'm going to make a cash offer to buy this property, and I might call a couple of my friends in the business and see if they want to pay me to release my contract on that property.
Yeah, and there's definitely there's good wholesalers and bad, just like there's good real estate agents and bad. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think they get a bad name for themselves, but there's a lot of good ones out there too. So uh,
yeah.
if you're looking at getting into wholesaling, go find the good ones like Josh was back in the day, and look forward. So I know for me, my business is only successful as my team is. My team is a huge part of my business. And I know you have at least a couple of people that help you fuel your business. Can you talk a little bit about your team and how it's structured?
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, what's most important to the team or my company is our investors. Our private investors that we work with to create the partnerships and fund the deals. I mean, without funding, it's pretty hard to run a real estate investment and development company. So we take great pride in the relationships that we built and maintained with our investors over the years. Both the guys that we've been working with. I have lenders that I started with, not necessarily the first deal that I did, but, you go back 12, 15 years, you're working with the same guys over and over again. And then, I have guys that I've started doing business with over the last 6 months or 12 months that, have become good friends in the business. So, first and foremost is the relationships with the investors. It's very important. Second, we have just good team. I mean, all around we're in a good spot right now on the construction side. We don't have a construction crew in-house. They're all subcontractors, but I got a great relationship with the guys that do our work, both on the different crews for different projects. So, the crews that build the big fancy houses, the spec builds that you see like up in Mount Washington and Lawrenceville, those aren't the same guys that are doing the turnovers on the single family rental portfolios. So, but we're fortunate we have good relationships and good crews, in both aspects of construction there. And then office, there's as far as office staff, there's a few of us here. We have an office manager. We have a couple of guys that are in the office and kind of out in the field. But again, it's everybody's interests are aligned, and we're all about everybody understands what needs to be done, and we're all about growth and longevity in the business.
Very cool. So moving forward, what's your favorite thing about the real estate industry?
My favorite thing. That's tough, man. I mean, we. I like the business, man. We have a good relationship with all the guys that we work with. It's I've been full time for almost 10 years now, since 2010. And, I joke, I tell people I work more now than when I had a job. But, on the flip side, like, I don't hate going to work. Like, I get up every morning at the same time at the gym, come into the office, you're here early. And then before you know it, it's the end of the day. I mean, it's, we got good people. We got some cool projects. We have a diverse portfolio so that we can adjust for market conditions. But probably what I like most about the business is, now that we're talking through it, is like there's no limit on the growth. You're not capped at like, okay, you can build to here and then you're maxed out, you're tapped out. It's every time, it seems like every year I sit down and write my goals for the year. We go through like monthly, quarterly, and then I track them, I follow them, and then it seems like every time you hit a goal, it's like, boom, what's next? What are we going to do next? You finish a project, it's like on to the next, bigger, better. How can we continue to grow and progress and help more people? So that's that's probably my favorite part about the business is there's no caps, there's no limits.
I think you're one of a few people that have actually texted me back when I send the text at 5 a.m. in the morning. So
I was walking into the gym. What was it? 4:45, 5 o'clock?
Something like that.
Yeah. My phone's going off, and it's usually like my wife saying good morning. But I look and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yep. I got to get that early start too.
Yeah. Usually I get to about 6:30 before this phone starts going off. 6:30, 7 o'clock. But you're an early riser. I like that.
What's your least favorite thing about our business?
Least favorite. I don't know, man. I mean, I like my business. I like what we do. I like the company. I mean, obviously the first thing that comes to mind is tenants, residents. There's always, there's always something to deal with there, but it's like, I always tend to look at the positive. It's like, you got to deal with, every once in a while we do all our screenings to get the residents in place. And every once in a while you get a bad apple, but you can't let it drag you down. I mean, you just deal with it and move on. If it was, what's the old saying? If it was easy, everybody would do it. So, you got, every once in a while you end up in the magistrate or you end up in litigation over something, you're building a house and you piss off the neighbors or whatever. I mean, there's things that you got to deal with, from time to time, but, it's part of the business, the cost of doing business.
So I know that you probably deal with real estate agents on a regular basis to find properties and whatever else. And I think that the percentages are probably pretty similar in real estate investing as well. But why do you think that 87% of real estate agents fail?
87%. Is that the figure?
That's a
When do
that's
they
a
fail? When do they fail? First 12 months?
first 5 years. They're
First
usually
five
out of the
years.
business in
Okay.
the first 5 years.
So what's the 12-month retention? Do you know?
You know what? I don't know that.
Okay.
I bet it's probably at least 30% are gone within the first 12 months. If I had to guess.
That's the number I was looking for. Surprise! Because so at an event. My buddy runs a foundation, and we did a fundraiser so they could buy a couple of vans for their youth program. So, and I was talking to some of the higher ups at his company. They're in the insurance industry, and one of the managers, he has like 50 guys under him, and I said, "What's your retention rate for the new hires?" And he said 25 to 30% don't make it their first year. Yeah. And I said, "Wow," because then he was asking about my business, and I said, he said, like, "What's your retention?" We were talking about retention rate on the tenants, on the residents, because we do a lot of lease options with our single family homes. And I said, we probably have a 25-30% default. So that's interesting that that the insurance industry, the agents are 25-30% default. Real estate, 25-30% default. We have residents that are 25-30% default. And then Coach Tressel from Ohio State University, he was at the luncheon, and he said that professional athletes, 25-30% default first year. So it seems like that's a common denominator regardless of the industry.
Yeah, just people give up. They don't have what it takes to get back up. Just about any business, you're going to get punched in the face, right?
Yeah.
You got to get back up and keep going.
Yeah, but to answer your original question, my opinion on why agents fail, why they don't make it the first 5 years. I mean, you're 100% commission, if I'm not mistaken, regardless of what brokerage you're with. And when you're 100% commission, it requires effort to put food on the table. So first, not everybody's driven. Not everybody has the same mindset where you got to get up, you got to do the same activities, you got to be relentless, you got to regardless of how your day's going, how your week's going, your personal life, you got to get up, you got to do it, you got to do your activities. And what's the activities when you're an agent? You got to make calls, you got to set listing appointments. I'm sure if I don't know I'm not an agent myself, but I'm sure there's industry standards that say if you make 100 calls, you're going to set 10 listing appointments. From those 10 listing appointments, you're going to get 2 listings, 1-2 listings, something like that. In sales, that's about the general.
You're pretty spot on there. Yeah.
10% conversion rate, 10% conversion to appointments, and then a 10% conversion to listings. So in order to get those listings, you have to make the calls. My friends that I was talking to in the insurance industry, they're 100% commission as well. And they'd said that you see some of the teams that, they do really well. They kill it. They make a ton of money. They have a great week. And then the next week they're at the bottom of the list because their bellies are full. So you just got to be you got to be consistent with the activity. So the more calls you make, and it's what book was that? I think I have it here somewhere. Was it Tom Hopkins, How to Master the Art of Selling? It's he goes with the mindset that you're paid based on your activity, not your results. So let's say. And I don't want to do the math off the top of my head here, but let's say that one listing you make, $10,000 commission. Well, that means that for those 10 listing appointments, you're making $1,000 for each appointment, which means for those 1,000 calls, you're making $100 per call. So the way Tom Hopkins tells you to look at it is every time you pick up the phone and make a call, that's $100 you're putting in your pocket, figuratively. Not now it takes you you have to get that conversion. You have to get that one listing appointment. You have to get that sale to get that $10,000 commission. But too many people look at that $10,000 commission and not that $100 per call.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, obviously, you got to get good at it to get to the 10% conversion rate. But once you do, yeah, I mean, you're literally going to make money every time you pick up the phone if you think about it.
Yeah.
So if you were to start your business over, it's 2003 all over again. You're 21 years old. You have no money. What are you doing? What changes would you make compared to what you did?
I would have bought a lot more real estate. Yeah. Yeah. I would have done a lot more, man, a lot more. So, um, right now, we have a pretty diverse model where we're doing single family home portfolios. So we're building residual income, both for the investor partners and our company. And then, we're with the current market conditions, we're doing the spec builds, the new construction, the development projects, for, to hit that higher end market. But if I would rewind it all over again, I would have kept a lot more properties that I've sold. Cause I mean, I've done a lot of deals in the last, whatever that is, 15 plus years. And, if you look at a lot of the properties that I sold over the years, what I sold them for versus what they're worth now. I mean, you could see some of the homes in Lawrenceville that we sold last year for $625,000. They're already reselling for $675,000. So that one that I told you that we sold in 2012 for $175,000, that's worth $450,000 right now. So, market keeps going up, but it's not just the hot areas like Lawrenceville. If you look at like, just the regular houses, regular neighborhoods, the B neighborhoods, I mean, $150,000 homes are worth a little bit more than they were worth, 5-10 years ago. In Pittsburgh, we don't have like that crazy growth, crazy appreciation, but when the market corrects, we also don't have that falling off the cliff either, with price points. So we have certain areas that buyers are going to, and they're paying a higher price for nicer homes that they want to live in. Like Lawrenceville, East Liberty, the East End corridor, down into the city, into the Strip, even out into the suburbs. There's a lot of nice homes going up, but we try to focus for the long term stuff. We focus on the regular houses, regular neighborhoods where say we call them B neighborhoods, but you know where they are. I mean, Brighton Heights, Bellevue, Ross Township, Westview. We're doing some stuff out in the east, like Penn Hills, out into like West Mifflin, Munhall, those areas where you can get like that 1960s brick ranch, 3-bedroom, 1-bath. I mean, those are like the ideal long-term houses for us, not the, the 100-year-old houses in the city, but, just that brick ranch or 2-story in a regular house, people want to live in.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually bought my first property in 2007. And it was like, the process was, do you have a credit score? Do you have a pulse? Okay, here's your house, with no money out of pocket, of course.
Yeah.
If the light bulb would have went off in my head, I would have bought a lot more, right? I would have just kept buying until they shut me off, But it's pretty crazy to see the appreciation, even in the like you said, the B kind of suburban neighborhoods. You could buy a property, hold it for 5-10 years and sell it for significantly more than what you bought it for. So I like that you think that you would have held on to a few more, especially in Lawrenceville, of course. Areas, so
go
ahead.
Well, we were, you and I, when we were starting in the business, the market was a little different, and like we didn't know any better. So, hindsight's 2020. I mean, what you get in 2007. Banks were lending, and then in 2009. Everything shit hit the fan, and banks weren't lending. But what could you get in 2009? Super cheap properties, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of, we keep that in mind too. If there's another correction, then we're going to go in full buy mode, because historically, it's going to come back.
Absolutely, it's definitely going to come back. I think that we're probably a couple of years from another slight correction, which I'm, oddly kind of excited about for some weird reason. Probably because I can buy some more deals.
Yeah.
How many hours a week do you put into your business?
How many hours a week?
Yeah.
It's a little different now because I have kids. So for about 10 years, it was, It was 6 to 7 days a week, from, I don't know, I'd probably like anywhere between 50 and 75 hours a week, maybe 80 hours a week, depending. Now that I have kids, I try to be home for dinner every night. So, and which is why we were texting back and forth at 5 in the morning. So I just get up earlier, I do my thing. I, hit the gym a lot of times, and then come into the office, and I still try to get a solid, what would that be, like 10 hours? Get here by 7:30. I go till 5:30, and then get home to be with my wife and kids.
Very cool.
Yeah, there's too many people that business owners, entrepreneurs that wake up, their kids are 5 years old and don't even know who they are. So try not to be that guy.
That work-life balance, absolutely.
It's a huge balance, yeah.
So how do you find your deals?
How do I find them? We do a lot of marketing. It depends. Single family homes that we're buying to put in portfolio, we buy from a lot of wholesalers. We do a lot of marketing, direct marketing for our target areas. We do mailers. We do some internet stuff. And then we do buy a little bit off the MLS, but those are few and far in between, to be honest with you. I mean, we look at the MLS every day, but when a property comes up that hits our criteria, it typically goes to highest and best and sells over asking, today in today's current market conditions. So we look at stuff every day, but we don't put in too many offers, and we don't buy too much off the MLS. So it's a lot of marketing, a lot of wholesalers. Every once in a while we'll get an agent friend of ours that brings us a deal that, we didn't see and it makes sense for us for whatever reason. So we'll buy it. On the development and the new construction, infill new construction on the commercial side, the development side of the business, really a lot word of mouth. Agents that I've been in that I've worked with in the past will bring me a lot, or bring me a tract of land. Different community groups that we've worked with in the past, and MWCDC. We bought some properties through the city purchase program to do like land assemblage deals. We bought a few lots from the Community Development Corporation and a few lots from the city, and combined them and consolidated and subdivided them. And then, just a lot of word of mouth stuff. I mean, social media is huge for business. I mean, people that know what you do and know what you're doing. I recently purchased a large tract of land out in our area that was brought to me by an agent friend of mine in the business, who I went to high school with his wife. So, otherwise without social media, we never would have been connected. But that's really been a huge part of the business.
So that kind of leads us right into my next question. Our industry is always changing. And with technology, I feel like it's going at a rapid pace. Where do you see the real estate business in like 10 years from now?
The real estate business, or the marketing of the real estate business?
The business itself, like how we do our business, how you find properties, how agents sell houses, or are there even going to be agents in 10 years? I mean, things are changing too quick.
I don't know, man. I mean, when I started in the business, I think Craigslist was just starting to get popular. So, I mean, I did a lot of business, a lot of deals on Craigslist ads. I found a lot, and I sold a lot when I was wholesaling. And that sort of came and gone. It's still out there, but not as good. Now it's like Facebook Marketplace is good. Just the connections and the collaborations made through social media, through the different groups. I mean, you have that Pittsburgh Real Estate Investors Group. There's like 6,000 members or something like that, or 4,000 members. I mean, it's huge. So, I mean, it keeps going more and more tech. More and more internet. It's crazy. It's crazy now that you can do a pretty good evaluation of a property from your desk. With everything that's out there, as far as, you have the MLS for your comps, you have all the other sites with Realstat, Zillow, and, all that stuff. Google for the drive-by. You can drive up and down the street, spin around, look at all the neighbors' houses. I mean, it's nuts. We can like 95% evaluate a property without leaving the office. Of course, you got to go there. You got to run through it. You got to look at the property front and back, and, Google Street Views. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 years old, so you got to make sure it's the same. But where I see it going in 10 years, I mean, who the heck knows, man? Really, it's going to be more. Technology is only going to continue to advance. There's no signs that say that it's going to slow down or reverse or anything. I mean, it's only been, exponential growth over the last decade or 2 decades with technology. So what's next? I don't know. I mean, if I knew what was next, I'd put a patent on it, and, and you and I would be having a different conversation in 10 years. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, technology, I think, to sum it up, like if I had to offer some advice, if you're an agent, or if you're in the business, if you're not keeping up with technology, if you're not staying in tune with what the latest and greatest is, I mean, you're costing yourself a lot of money and a lot of deals and a lot of business. I mean, if you look at, do you see any good real estate agents anymore that just take a couple of pictures, put it on the MLS, and, hit that, that $20 million a year in sales or whatever those targets are? No, I mean, they're doing the drone videos, and, there's all those marketing companies now that are putting together like those marketing videos with, the drone and the walkthroughs and just all the tech stuff. I mean, you got to keep up on it.
You do. And those are really cool. Actually, you can literally walk through a house, especially if you have like VR, you can walk through a house and you're there. I mean, it's the craziest thing. Some really cool things going on, but some things that you also have to keep an eye on too, as because we have to adapt and change as technology grows.
Yeah.
I know you're big into goals. What's your 5-year plan?
5-year plan? Rather not share that.
Proprietary information.
Yeah. No, I have certain financial goals that I'd rather not share.
Sure.
But where I plan to be in 5 years is in Pittsburgh, doing the same thing on a much larger scale. We have good relationships with the folks that we work with now. We're building some nice portfolios for the long term, and then the business is continually growing and progressing on the construction and development side. So most of my goals that I have are financial goals, where I want to be in a certain spot and continue that growth. I think, and then, we have goals to, continue to contribute to local organizations and give back as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, my mentor, Alex Deacon, who was your mentor and how did they help you?
Who was my mentor? I have a lot of mentors, man. I have a lot of good people in my circle, a lot of people that I look up to. So, early on, when I was starting in the business in real estate, I started going to the Acre meetings, and I linked up with some of the guys on the board. Steve Pawanda, he helped me a lot early on, he was a good mentor of mine. And I have different mentors now. That for various parts of the business and various parts of life that helped me. But I think there's not one particular mentor, but it's more so just being around good people. Have a good group of people that I'm surrounded with right now that both in business and friends that like the old saying goes, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. So if you surround yourself with 4 people, you're likely to be the 5th. So, and that goes in either direction. Are you hanging out with 4 bums? You're going to be the 5th bum. Are you hanging out with 4 successful guys that are running business that are all about growth and, growing their business and helping people and giving back? Then if you surround yourself with 4 of those people, you're likely to be the 5th.
You are the top 5 people you hang out with, right?
That's it.
Let's talk about Acre. I think it's a pretty big part of your life. So you are the president of our local Acre chapter. Yeah. First off, I'd like to ask, why did you volunteer to be the president? Because I'm sure that takes time and some of your work-life balance and those things. And then also, as you transition, I'd like to know what you feel like investors and real estate professionals can get out of Acre and what they can also maybe bring to Acre.
Yeah. So first off, Acre is it's a subchapter of National REIA. We're the Pittsburgh subchapter of National REIA, which National REIA is the National Real Estate Investors Association. So being a member of Acre, you get certain benefits with the Home Depot rebates program, Office Depot, and then a whole slew of other benefits. But I started going to the Acre meetings in 2002, 2003, something like that, before I bought my first property. I was 21 years. I was 20 years old when I started going. Now I'm 37, so that's 17 years. And I started going to those meetings. That was before podcasts. That was before social media. That was before, really a lot of stuff on the internet. Like when I bought my first property, I remember I had to turn my computer on and I walk away for 15 minutes while it opened up Windows, what was that, 97 or something?
98, yeah, Windows 98.
Windows 98. So there was it wasn't like you weren't walking around with a smartphone and you had all the information, at your fingertips. So Acre was that was how I learned real estate, and how I connected with the right people, how I got the money for my first deals, how I found my first deals, through wholesalers at the group, how I found contractors to fix the properties, how I learned how to fill the properties with the monthly meetings and the weekend classes, learn about tenant, how to manage the properties. So I learned early on, a majority of what I learned about the business was at the Acre meetings. And, I continued to go, and then they asked me to help out with the microphones and stuff like that. And I started helping, and then they asked me to be on the board as a volunteer board member, or an associate board member. And I agreed, and I just, it's just good. Like we talked about a few minutes ago, surround yourself with the right people, and the board of directors, it's all folks that have been in the business for a long time. So there's a good group of people there. And then, it's a volunteer organization. I mean, all the board of directors are volunteers, and I forget, it was probably 5-6 years ago. We voted on the board of directors because we had to get rid of a couple of guys on the board, for various reasons. So we had a vote. I was voted in as vice president, and then the president at the time, that was a short-lived career for him. He made an exit, and just by chain of command, I went up into the position of president. And it's hard to be taken out of a volunteer position. So I've been the president now for 6-7 years, something like that, and it's cool. We have a good group. We have a good board of directors. We have, it's a well-rounded group, and I think we've been doing pretty good at growing the organization over the last 3, 4, 5 years. Both in the content that we provide and the resources that we provide.
Very cool. That's I guess it's your way of kind of giving back a little bit.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's volunteer, and I felt the need early on to, give back through contributing my time to help others. And you do. I mean, it's cool. I mean, we've like any other organization, there's a lot of people that come and go, but being there for, over 15 years, you see people, like myself, who started, within the group, and then they grow a portfolio, then they're doing bigger deals, doing bigger things, and, doing well for themselves and their families. And it's cool to watch.
You meet 17-year-olds driving, Maseratis and all kinds of stuff at Acre. I mean,
yeah. That guy Zach, he's special.
Yeah, seems like it. I hope to talk to him some more.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so moving forward, we're going to go into the blitz round. I ask the same 5 questions to everybody. We're almost out of time, so we're going to get into this. Starting with question number 1, what is your favorite technology tool?
My favorite technology tool would be my iPhone.
Your iPhone, like a specific app on your iPhone that you use more than anything, or?
No, I think just having the phone in general. Because, like I said a few minutes ago, when I started in the business, you had to fire up your computer and walk away. Now you have a phone or an iPad. I mean, you can run your whole business with, I can access anything from the phone or the iPad, regardless of where I am.
Yeah, I just sent a DocuSign contract the other day, just right from my phone.
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
What's your favorite real estate book?
My favorite real estate book? I would say, I'm looking at my my rack over here. So I have a lot of favorite books. John Burley wrote a great book. Tom Hopkins, How to Master the Art of Selling. That's a great book. One that I recently read, I have it here, Relentless. That's a great book. I wouldn't say I have one favorite in particular. If you go back to Trump's book, The Art of the Deal,
I love that book.
That's a great book on negotiating and setting up deals. So I have a lot of favorites.
My favorite part of The Art of the Deal is actually the first chapter, where literally it's just taking you through the day of a life of a big real estate developer. Whether you like him or not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just listening to what his day was like taught me a lot, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So if you were not a real estate developer / investor, what would you be?
Who knows, man? Who knows? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I kind of blazed this trail on my own. There's nobody else in my family that's in real estate or development or really any sort of entrepreneurial type businesses. I mean, everybody in my family is, has careers, jobs, good, some bad. But I didn't really step into this. I'm first generation, so I didn't take over anything. Where would I have gone? Like I said early on, I was in automotive. That was sort of my direction. When I was in high school and coming out of school, is I was gonna, open a shop, build a shop, whether East Coast, West Coast, wherever, maybe go into a different market. And I've always been big into custom cars, custom motorcycles, exotic cars. So that was my direction early on. And I just found real estate and ran with that.
Very cool. Yeah. What's your favorite hobby outside of what you do?
A favorite hobby? Right now, I really enjoy spending time with my family, my kids. So, aside from that, that's my main focus right now is work, and then getting home with the kids. So, into the cars, of course, that. I like extreme sports, combat sports. I have a background in martial arts. Enjoy going to the gym, staying active. I figured if I take care of myself, I could be around a little bit longer and hopefully spend more time with my kids. So again, it goes back to the balance. I spend a lot of time in my business, working my business, and then, into the cars. But, a lot of that stuff, a lot of the events that we go to, are guys that you're doing business with on a daily basis. I mean, we have agents that we work with. We have, different suppliers, different general contractors that we go, and it's like you're going to the car meets and stuff, but you're also, talking shop the whole time. So, and meet new guys, but I don't know that there's any right answer. I don't have like one certain thing that I do. I just like to stay busy.
Absolutely. What's your dream vacation?
Dream vacation. I don't know, man. It's been a long time. Dream vacation. I don't know. I like, my wife and I, we did a couple of trips to the Caribbean. We did Aruba. We did Punta Cana, Jamaica, before the kids. I like those. I think, I'd say Jamaica was our favorite, but, I guess dream vacation. I'm not one to like travel and go like sit on a beach and walk around with a camera and take pictures of stuff. Like, I don't know. I like to be active. But I'd say we got to hit Hawaii at some point.
Hawaii. Okay. Yeah, that'd be a good one. Absolutely.
Yeah. That sounds like a solid answer.
All right, Josh. So how can people find you online?
Find anybody on the internet, man. I mean, social media, just my name, on Facebook, Josh Adamek. Instagram is Avid Investor, AVID Investor, company's Avid Management Group. So that's where we got that. And then LinkedIn, of course, just Josh Adamek, JOSHADAMEK. Then, websites, adamekventures.com is a good one to find me. But, if you're looking, it's not too hard to find somebody.
Very cool. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. You just took about 50 minutes of your time to educate people, and I appreciate you coming on, and I'll see you in a couple of Tuesdays from now.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Well, folks, that's it. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to learn more about Josh, look him up online. If you want to learn more about us, you can find us on our website, dhrea.com, or on iTunes, Instagram, Facebook. We're all over the place, DHRE. Or you can find me at Ian S. Hoover on Instagram, Facebook. So look us up. Feel free to communicate and chat. If you want to come on the show, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is ian@ianhoover.com. And for the Deacon Hoover Radio Network, this is Ian Hoover signing off.